New York Giants versus New Orleans Saints preview and prediction, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, Pro Football Focus is the backdrop. The front drop is the face of the freaking franchise, the best in the world to ever do it. God, I'm on a different level. All right, this is a really interesting game. I mean, even like if you take away being a Saints fan or being a Giants fan or whatever, this is a really interesting matchup. You've got the new New York Giants, all right, new squared York Giants, with Jaxson Dart, Cam Skattebo coming off of a huge win against the Chargers. And then you have the Saints. You have the lowly Saints, right, who are one of the winless teams in the NFL, but are favored in this game, which we'll talk about throughout this video. You got a lot going on. Can Spencer Rattler break his winless streak? He's like an inverse Goldberg. He's got the winless streak going on here. Is Jaxson Dart who people think he is? A lot going on, okay? We're going to talk about that at length. I'm, as a Saints fan, I am absolutely ecstatic for this game because I really do think the Saints win this game. And on the same token, I'm excited to see Jaxson Dart and Cam Skattebo. I'm excited to see Abdul Carter. It's going to be a fun game. So let's take a look real quick at some metrics here before we get into the video. All right, DVOA-wise, so the Giants are bad. The Saints are bad. All right, the Saints are 31 in DVOA. The Giants are 28. We can go through like the entire thing here. Offensive DVOA, just real quick. You've got the Saints at 20. Where are the Saints? The Saints are at 23. Okay, and then the Giants. Now these numbers are a little weird because it's Russell Wilson. It's a lot of other stuff going on. But the Giants are 27th. Okay, so the Saints have had a better offense up until now. Defensively, you've got the Giants at 26, the Saints at 30. All right, so these are not good teams. No one would argue that. Where the Giants are good is pass rush. That's the one thing that they do really, really well. Brian Burns, Abdul Carter, Dexter Lawrence, all have been fantastic rushing the quarterback. If you look at this as well, their pass rush grade, 5th in the NFL. Okay, run defense, they are. Let's see, where are they? Run defense, they are not great, right? 25th, okay? Coverage, they're okay. Good pass rush makes coverage easy. That's how it works in the NFL. They're 16th, but a 59.4 grade, so not that great either. And the Saints, we know, struggle. They're okay in run defense. Saints have been good in run defense. They've been bad in pass rush. They're 32nd in pass rush, and they've been bad in coverage. All right, they are 19th in coverage, but a 57.5 grade. All right, so that's where they are. Last week, now this is a situational spot that, as a bettor, is like the greatest spot possible to pick to take the Saints. You've got the Giants coming off of a huge win, okay, against the Chargers, undefeated Chargers. But the box score is as Fugazi gets. 250 total yards, 3.6 yards per play, which is not average. It's downright bad. Chargers had 6.0 yards per play. Classic situation where the turnovers got them, right? Turnovers. Chargers had 14 penalties confirmed. The Chargers do not respect Jim Harbaugh. But this is one of those box scores where you see it and you're like, Jaxson Dart's the realist. The Giants are back, baby. The Giants are good. And then you see this and you're like, well, they didn't do anything. You know, like they didn't do much of anything at all. They just kind of it just happens, right? Like last night, the Rams had like 7 yards per play, lost the game. Why? Because they missed an extra point, missed a field goal, whiffed on 4th down. Like a lot of stuff happens in the game that makes upsets happen. Then you've got this, all right? The Saints opened as a plus 2.5 point dog, all right? 75% of tickets. So 75% of bets placed. For every 10 people that walked up there, 7.5 took the Giants. But 61% of the money is on the Saints, which is the important thing. This is as good of a bet split as you can ask for if you're a Saints fan. The public, Joe Public, Mr. $1, $2 bettor, is taking the Giants. The Saints haven't won a game. The Giants just beat the Chargers. Jaxson Dart's the man, rookie of the year. Whatever. But the money, okay, those 2.5 people out of 10 that are taking the Saints are putting up 61% of the money. So $1, $2, $3, $4 Joe Public taking the Giants. $100, $500, $1,000 sharp better taking the Saints. So much so that it pushed the line from plus 2.5 to -2, -2.5, and now it's at -1.5 a lot of places. So all of that is lining up for the New Orleans Saints to win this game. And I am confident that they're going to win this game.
Giants are traveling to New Orleans. Very interested to hear what you have to say about this one.
I just said
Giants coming off of a win with Jaxson Dart.
I just said it.
The Saints have looked competitive, but still don't have a win yet. If this one was in New York, I think people would usually be taking the Giants, but it's not. It is in New Orleans. So what are we talking about here? And then at the end of it, we're going to get to whether or not we think the Saints are going to get their first win of the season.
So we know the Saints have struggled to throw the football, obviously, between their pass protection not being great, and obviously their quarterback situation isn't great. You know, starting Spencer Rattler another week, maybe we'll see Tyler Shuck eventually. But I think last week against the Chargers, and all the story was about Jaxson Dart and the offense, and obviously the defensive line dominating the Chargers with a lot of injuries. But to me, it's that their secondary, which they spent a lot of money on this offseason, they've spent a lot of resources to fix over the last 2 years. This was the first week last week that the Giants secondary looked like a more functional unit, right? Andrew Phillips obviously was the...
Real quick, before, I know we talked about a lot of like the numbers and stuff like that. Just the actual game, the Giants are missing Malik Neighbors, which is a huge, hate to see it. The Saints have to get out early in this game, because if the Saints get behind and that pass rush is allowed to let it rip, the Saints are going to be in some trouble. Now, it is up to Kellen Moore and Spencer Rattler and whoever is in the game plan room, Nussmeier and the lot. They got to know, get this ball out in like 2 seconds. Get this ball out quick. Okay, same thing that Frisco did with Mac Jones last night. Mac Jones was hurt, so he could not sit in the pocket. He was a sitting duck. So what'd they do? They got the ball out really, really fast. That's what has to happen here. If they get down, if the Saints go down 10-0 and they got to throw, and that defensive line knows they're going to throw, that is going to be problematic. The Saints have to get up early. They got to run the football. What I want to see in this game is really quick throws, run the football, screens, all that stuff. I don't want Spencer Rattler sitting back there reading, these long routes. The whole push the ball, take the top off the defense, whatever. Not this game. This isn't the time. Okay, this is not the time for that. Get this ball out quick. I don't care if the A dot is 1 or 2 or 3. A dot is average depth of target, by the way. I don't care, because I would rather that than Rattler sitting back there and having these hombres coming after him. That's how the Saints win this game. Jaxson Dart's also nursing a hamstring injury. How severe is it? I don't know. We're filming this on a Friday. Game's on a Sunday. You get some Tiger Balm on that, whatever. Then, a lot can change. But Jaxson Dart, through the air, nothing last week. On the ground, he was good. And that's what the Saints will have to worry about. Now, the Saints are good about that, because we know that the Saints do play this bend, don't break kind of, sit back, keep everything in front of you kind of defense. So that should allow for a lot less of those broken plays where Dart can, take off and get 20, 25 yards. So it lines up okay for the Saints. The issue is, can they, Kellen Moore understands what's going on here. Can they game plan that defensive line out of the game?
Star of the show, he had an interception. We've seen Cordell Flott now is basically inserted as the starter over Deonte Banks. Paulson Adebo trying to figure out a new system. Holland and Nubin on the back end. 72.9 coverage grade last week for the Giants. Phillips had one interception. Dexter Lawrence with the interception at the line of scrimmage. That obviously helps a lot. And only 3 explosive plays allowed. One of them was at the very end of the game, the last play of the game, so that doesn't hurt you too much. Really, the only big mistake that they made was the big Quentin Johnston touchdown at the end of the first half. The Giants secondary was a lot better in that game. And look, sometimes I criticize them for playing a lot of man-to-man coverage, but it worked for them last week, and we could see them take that same approach this week, although be careful with that, because...
By the way, if you are going to play man, we don't have to get into a full-on all 22 here, but if the Giants are going to play man, then and I've already played some of these, but you need to play them, is the Spencer Rattler rushing props. We know that Spencer Rattler is the most dangerous when he's running around. He was the best last week, or against the Bills, whenever he was running around. When he's scrambling, whenever he's picking up first downs with his legs. I would look at his longest rush, which is like 9.5 yards. I would look at his rushing attempts, anywhere between 3.5, 4.5. You could look at his total rushing yards, probably around like 14, 15.5, something like that. I'd look at all those because with a pass rush like this, man coverage on the outside, that is how quarterbacks scramble. Do y'all remember when the Saints were really bad against mobile quarterbacks with Dennis Allen? Why is that? Anybody in the room? Anybody out there? Because Dennis Allen played man. That was it. It's as simple as that. Dennis Allen played man. We know what Dennis Allen did. Played man, blitz, try to get there, try to get pressure, hope the cornerbacks can hold up. Well, what happens? Right? Whenever that happens, quarterbacks escape, they can run around. That's why Allen struggled, or his defense has struggled against mobile quarterbacks. Totally separate defense is what Brandon Staley has. And so now instead of man on the outside, pressure up front, whatever, now they're sitting back a little bit. Now it's in front of them. So now mobile quarterbacks are not as bad as they once were.
Spencer Rattler has been taken off scrambling a little bit, but I think if the Giants get another performance like this out of their secondary, knowing what we know about their defensive line and how they force quarterbacks to get rid of the ball quickly, and I think that's what happened to Justin Herbert last week. He didn't have time to stand back there for 3.5 seconds and chuck the ball downfield because that defensive line is coming at you. So again, you're always marrying the pass rush and coverage together, and they do affect each other's performances. Last week was the first time that we saw those two things really sync up against an opposing offense, and a darn good one with the Chargers, albeit they have offensive line injuries. I think a similar dynamic needs to be had if they're going to go on the road and get a win. Their secondary was good last week. I'm looking for them to stack good performances together.
Yeah, and I think that the Saints, you mentioned Rattler's rushing ability, but I think that it's been just a total team effort when it comes to rushing the ball pretty well. Quietly, the Saints have the 6th highest rushing grade of any team in the NFL at a 77.9. And then, when you look specifically
and don't forget, not for nothing, but 3 of their 4 opponents have been like elite run defenses with Seattle, San Francisco, and Arizona. Like they are, I think Seattle might be the best run defense in the NFL. So the Saints have like what Trevor just said, 6th in the NFL. And that's against 3 really good defenses. Buffalo obviously struggles against the run, but the Saints have, and Kendra Miller especially lately, have run the ball well, and that's what they want to do. Now the Saints kind of do what New York does not want them to do. New York wants to face the Chargers. They want to face a team where the quarterback is sitting back there, and there are these long developing routes because then the pass rush can get home. What they absolutely do not want is quick, short routes where the pass rush is eliminated, and they don't want a team to run the football. Well, that's what the Saints do. So I know we've talked about how all it is short passes, dink and dunk, whatever. That's kind of exactly what you have to do to beat the Giants.
Kendra Miller and Alvin Kamara, the grades aren't going to blow you out of the water, but they have a lot of missed tackles forced, which showcases a lot of playmaking ability that we see between those 2 running backs. This is a team that doesn't have a ton of yards before contact. For as much as they have a good amount of rushing yards, their yards before contact are, tied for 23rd in the NFL. And so they're not necessarily getting a ton of help from the offensive line, but these running backs are still being playmakers when they get it. When you look at that versus this Giants.
By the way, a little fun fact. How many broken tackles do you think Derrick Henry has through 4 games? He has 4. He's averaging 1 broken tackle a game. Struggling up there in Baltimore.
Giants, highest EPA per rush allowed this season. I would not have thought that would be the case for the Giants defensive line, and just how
well that usually, unless you have some really special players, like usually if you are all in on the pass rush, you are going to leak against the run.
This defense is built overall, but they have given up the highest EPA per rush average so far through 4 games. And then when you look at the Saints overall, their EPA per rush they're 15th in the NFL. So the grades and the missed tackles force are a little bit better, but the EPA has been a little bit lower. I think game scripts kind of go into that a little bit, and maybe running the ball when it maybe wasn't as advantageous because they know they have to stay balanced because they can't really get out of that identity or they don't have a chance.
Also, who you're playing, who you're playing also counts.
But I think it does lean into this game being close and really giving the Saints a chance. So
yeah, I mean, what Trevor just said, like the Saints are kind of tailor-made to beat this Giants team. And, the EPA allowed on the ground versus the EPA on the ground, the short passing, the pass rush, like all of it's kind of there. And then you throw into the fact of this Fugazi win from the Giants. And then you throw into the betting public and how the betting, the smarts or the sharps or whatever, they're back in the Saints. And the public is back in the Giants. Like, this is just all lining up. It's just a perfect storm to where I think the Saints are in a fantastic spot to beat this Giants team.
I think this game will be pretty close, even though a lot of people, I think, look at how Jaxson Dart was able to play last week. I hope that he is fully healthy and feeling good for this upcoming game because, the combination of him and Cam Skattebo as a two-headed rushing attack for the Giants, I think, was definitely formidable. And they will need it to be again with no Malik Neighbors, with him now out for the season.
Well, that's another part of it, too. Like, what do the Giants do? What do the Giants want to do on offense? They want to run the football, right? What's the best thing the Saints do on defense? Stop the run.
So I think this will be a close game no matter what. I think a lot of factors go into this being a close game. No Malik Neighbors on the Giants side of things, them struggling to defend the run, the Saints being able to run the ball pretty well, and then this game being in New Orleans. Dalton, I'm going to do it. I'm going to take the Saints in this one, 24-21. It's going to be a really close game, but I'll give it to the Saints being at home, getting their first win of the season.
All right. I mean, the Saints, look, we don't think they're going to have too many opportunities to win ball games. They got a couple winnable, maybe ball games later, but, and listen, Trev, what do we say around here?
What the hell?
Status? Style?
The hell just happened? I got thrown into an ad. I got thrown into a blender.
This is
I was waiting to hear what he was going to say. Next thing I know,
get started at NewOrleans.com.
That's at the Pontchartrain Hotel. This bar right here, this is at the bottom. This is at the bottom of the Pontchartrain. So the Pontchartrain Hotel has a Hot 10 and Jack Rose in it. At the very bottom, so I'll go ahead and tell you a quick little side story. At the very bottom is this little jazz bar club thing. It's really small. I mean, it's like very small. Has one bar in it, tables all around the outside, and this jazz band or whatever's playing. And because it's so small, it is absolutely loud in there. Like, they're blasting, okay? But see this martini right here? So last time I was there, I was drinking martinis, and they come in like it's called a Nick and Nora glass, and the Nick and Nora glasses are like these like chalice looking things, but they're really small. I had to rip through 6 or 7 of these bad boys because they're so tiny. I mean, and it's just a delicious environment where you're sitting there, you're having I mean, it doesn't get any better than this. But yeah, this is in the bottom of the Pontchartrain Hotel, right when you walk into the right. If you don't want to go to Hot 10, don't want to go to Jack Rose in there, I would recommend this place. I can't remember. I don't even know if it has a name, but I would recommend this place. It's awesome.
Winnable games are only winnable if you win them.
There you go.
See that?
That's very true.
It happens once a week.
Proud of you leading it.
We got to work it in once a week. Okay, but here's the thing for me. The Giants, and it's good you mentioned the Saints run game. I think the defensive line hasn't been the big concern, but they're struggling to tackle, and their second-level guys have been kind of hurting them so far when it comes to run defense. Tyler Nubin's missed 4 tackles in run defense. Micah McFadden has not played hardly at all this year. That's a starting linebacker. That's what they rely on him for. But
yeah, I think he had foot surgery or something, right?
I think a big concern for me with the Saints is still this offensive line, and now Cesar Ruiz is going to be out for a while, the right guard, and having to block Dexter Lawrence.
Now, this is the problem. Now, this right here is the devil's advocate. This is, okay, all that's fine, James, but the Saints offensive line has not been good, especially in pass protection. And you just talked about this defensive line. No doubt. Like, no doubt about it. The offensive line has to play better, but also Kellen Moore's got to help them out. They cannot cannot be in situations where they're asked to pass protect for an extended period of time. Can't do it.
It's on the inside is never fun, and Abdul Carter broke out in a big way. I think the Giants' D-line controls this game. I think they find a way to run the football again with Cam Skattebo and Jaxson Dart. I think it's going to be a hard-fought defensive kind of game because Brandon Staley's got the Saints defense at least playing respectable football, right? And obviously the Giants still don't have Malik Neighbors, but I'll take the Giants 20-17.
Sports Debate Arena giving us a $5 super chat. We appreciate you getting in on the show and the super chat, of course. His question, though, where would y'all put Cam Skattebo in the offensive rookie of the year race 4 weeks in?
He can't win it. He's eliminated. I'll go ahead and tell you that. So y'all know, if y'all been watching the channel, y'all should also have this. But I took Jaxson Dart 25-1 after the Chiefs-Giants game because the writing was on the wall. They were going to bench Russell Wilson. None of the other rookies have really done much. So my thought was, well, Jaxson Dart's going to come in, and if he's good, he can win the award. And that's the Cam Skattebo problem, is that if the Giants are good or relevant or whatever, Jaxson Dart's going to win it. And there's no way, because like Skattebo, he would have to take over to win this award. Like, he would have to be insane, because one, why would they be running the football if the Giants are losing games, right? If they're losing games, like, they're not going to feed him the ball. They're not going to feature him as much. It's going to be Jaxson Dart letting it rip. And then if they're good, well, how are they good, right? How is this team good? And more than likely, the quarterback will get the credit. So I think Skattebo is good. I like Skattebo. But I think he's in a situation where, because of Jaxson Dart, I don't think Skattebo can win unless he has like one of these years where, you know, he's just Christian McCaffrey, where he's just carrying this team.
So I just looked this up. Right now, he is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He is 9th in overall odds for Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, think about how good Skattebo has been. Jaxson Dart's played one game, and Jaxson Dart is already ahead of him on the odds board.
Here he is behind Emeka Egbuka, Ashton Genty, Omarion Hampton, Jaxson Dart,
yeah,
his own teammate, of course, Tyler Warren, Tetairoa McMillan, Quinshon Judkins, Cam Ward, and then it is Cam Skattebo if we're looking at these numbers or these odds over at DraftKings. Plus 2,500 is a pretty good number to get Cam Skattebo at.
Yeah, I think it is. I wouldn't have it.
If you think that he's going to be fully healthy the whole year, I don't know if he's going to win it, but it doesn't feel like Cam Ward was, I think, everybody's default pick just because he was going to start, and it can often be a quarterback-leaning award, as a lot of awards are, to be honest. But the Titans are so bad. I am...
And Ward is bad. Like, Ward is bad. The Titans are bad. He's not going to win unless he completely turns around the season. But remember, when you have voter awards, which is every award, you have to handicap the voters too. It's not just like who you think is good, who you think is bad. You have to put your mind in the voters' mind and think, like, how are they going to view this? What actually is how would it play out for Cam Skattebo to win the award over Jaxson Dart? And I think if you do it that way, it's very difficult. It's very difficult to find that way. The only way is if Cam Skattebo is so good that he's just like, the Giants are winning, but they're winning on the ground, and Jaxson Dart's doing nothing, and Cam Skattebo is just running for like 150 yards a game. That's the only way he's going to be able to do it.
I don't think that Cam Ward's going to win this award. Like, they would have to have 2, 3, 4 significant Cam Ward took over wins in order for him to win it at this point. So I like him at that 2,500 number, Cam Skattebo. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a good number. He's going to get the volume in that offense, but I think you have some other guys that are going to get it too. He shouldn't be 9th. I think he should be probably top 5 or 6. Judkins has looked good in his first few games. Genty obviously broke out last week.
Well, Judkins is kind of in the same situation where, like, why would the Browns, like, in what universe are the Browns running the football at the volume enough to where, see, this is another one. I would rather have a Dylan Gabriel ticket than a Quinshon Judkins, because if Gabriel lights it up and Gabriel turns the Browns around, Gabriel's absolutely live for the Rookie of the Year. And even though Judkins has been better up to this point because he's played and Gabriel hasn't, we know the Browns are going to be bad. So why would they be giving a ton of volume to Judkins? He may end up with touchdowns around the goal line, but he's not going to have the volume to have the numbers that he would need, whereas Dylan Gabriel certainly could, because the Browns are going to be down. He's going to be throwing the ball around. And we know what Kevin Stefanski can do with quarterbacks. We saw what he did with Joe Flacco in Joe Flacco's comeback player of the year thing. So, like, Dylan Gabriel is one of those guys where you can make worse bets than Dylan Gabriel to win Rookie of the Year. And it's just, you're just finding value. You're just trying. It's the same thing with the Jaxson Dart thing. When I took Jaxson Dart 25-1, he hadn't played a snap, right? You're not, but what you're trying to do is you're trying to get ahead of the market to where now Jaxson Dart's like 5-1. Okay. So we have an insane amount of value. We could cash that ticket out right now for like, whatever. We're in the positive. But now, let's say you come back with Dylan Gabriel and you add that to the portfolio. And then let's say, whatever, down the road, you add some like Emeka Ibuka at like even money. Then all of a sudden you've got a 25-1 shot, an even money shot, and whatever Gabriel is right now, 60-1. And all you need is for them to be in the mix. All you need to do is position yourself to where you can't lose. That's it. Like we took Puka Nacua 250-1 to win MVP. We put the video out on the channel. The next day, DraftKings sliced it to 100-1. All right. Puka Nacua needs 8.2 catches a game moving forward to break the single season reception record. He needs 117 yards per game moving forward to break 2,000 yards. That's where he's at, by the way. But let's say Puka Nacua is like head to head with Josh Allen to win MVP. And let's say in the second or third week 14, whatever, we take Josh Allen. And let's say he's even money. Well, then all of a sudden, you're making money either way. That's how you do it. Because then you got Josh Allen, but you also have this 250-1 shot in your back pocket that at that point is going to be like, 6-1, 7-1. That's how you do it with futures. You like in baseball right now, I've got the Yankees 8-1 and I've got the Mariners 20-1. They obviously both can't win, right? But the goal is you get one of them there, you get one of them to the World Series, and then you can hedge off with the other team or however you want to do it, and then you can monetize that number.
He's going to continue to get work. Hampton's obviously going to get work. And then I think you look at the receiving threats as well. Tetero, McMillan, and Emeka Ibuka. I think Tyler Warren should be very much near the top of that list for all the work he does in that Colts offense, both receiving and blocking. So I think he shouldn't be ninth. I would put him ahead of the two quarterbacks. I don't think you're getting a quarterback to win it this year, especially now with Dart not having Malik Neighbors for the rest of the year. I think, though, Skattebo's a fun dark horse because he's going to get a lot of volume, and I think it's going to look a lot like last week the rest of the year. The Giants are going to run the ball a lot.
I agree. I think that he should be sixth at worst right now. I would put, through the first 4 weeks, I would still put Ibuka and McMillan and Warren ahead of him when it comes to just receiving production, receiving grades, just overall stats, how much they're emphasizing the offense. And then I would still put Genty and Hampton ahead of him, honestly, just because I think they have a little bit more hype and push to the narrative of them potentially winning the award. But Cam Skattebo is right after that. I would put him ahead.
Well, Genty's a good example, right, of why Skattebo can't win this award. If a running back does win the award, it's probably going to go to Ashton Genty because he's the featured back in a team that should be middle of the road and can certainly be running the football. How can, the idea that Cam Skattebo would have to not only be the best rookie on his own team, but he'd have to also have better numbers than Ashton Genty because they're both running backs, right? You can't give the award to Cam Skattebo if he has worse numbers than Ashton Genty. Jaxson Dart doesn't have that problem. Dylan Gabriel doesn't have that problem because they have the quarterback tag. They have the positional importance. So they're not 1-for-1 with the numbers of like Ashton Genty or whoever, or Marion Hampton or whatever. So you kind of escape that as well. There's a lot stacked up against Cam Skattebo to win this award.
Ahead of Jaxson Dart, ahead of Quinshon Judkins, ahead of Cam Ward. He's sixth to me at worst, and I think that you can make an argument of him even maybe being a little bit higher on that list because he's also somebody that they're going to use him in the receiving game as well. Like he's not just going to be a bruiser type of running back. I mean, he'll get in the end zone, he'll give you those crazy yards after contact plays that we've already seen this season that we saw a lot at Arizona State, but he'll also give you some work as a receiver too. So I do like that. I do like that there. Now, so we're sitting here talking about it on the show. We're doing what we shouldn't be doing because remember on Monday, you called out the fact that Puka Nacua was plus 50,000 to win MVP, And then an hour after the show got done, his odds got cut in half, and now it's 25,000. So maybe.
Okay, first of all, I said that. All right. I mean, you want to talk about just everyone's watching me. Everyone's watching the face of the franchise. Y'all think it's a coincidence? Do y'all think it's a coincidence that I say stuff and then all of a sudden it's all over the place?
Maybe we should be saving this stuff for after the show to make sure if we want to, get a bet in, we can get a bet in.
Oh no,
we gotta learn. We gotta learn.
Certainly, whoever asked that question there is now feeling like, okay, at least there's some value on Skattebo. He's going to be the one that goes and puts a bunch of money on it and moves the line. Is what's going to happen.
It's true. Could have taken the $5 that he gave us for the super chat. Maybe we need to just go put it on Cam Skattebo to win Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Oh, see that now? Now you're talking. See that? That makes sense.
And then if we win, we could throw a pizza party afterwards. He's invited.
Well, that's the answer. Pizza's the answer to everything, Trev.
You want to know a red flag that people aren't betting is when they say stuff like plus 50,000 or plus 2,500 or whatever. Jesus. All right, ladies and gentlemen, get on down in the comments below. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.